Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. How are you everyone? I hope you are totally fine. That's Fatma Khalid talking. Inshallah, I'll be with you in the section of the English language, groups 1 and 4. Okay, our unit is talking about technology in use. And of course, you have discussed the two skills or the first two skills in the unit with Dr. Salma and in the lecture. For the section, we will be covering the second two skills, which are number 1, the first skill again is emphasizing. What do we use to emphasize؟ يعني المهارة اللي هنستخدمها أو اللي هنكون بنتكلم عنها في السكشن إن شاء الله هي مهارة emphasize. To emphasize something, to stress it or to strengthen its meaning. لما نكون عايزين نقوي معنى some words or even a word, we use some techniques. Okay, how we will just do the exercise and we will discover. But let us first of all read the text and discuss the meaning of the bold words. Why? Because we will get the idea of emphasizing after discussing the meaning of these words. Okay, the text is about Aris, the famous company for inventing the elevators اللي هو الأسانسير. Okay, let's get started. Artist unique flat belt. The key to artist patent drive technology. Right? At the heart of the second generation TM elevator system is a flat belt developed by and unique to artists. It is just 3 mm thick, yet it is stronger than conventional steel cables. It lasts up to 3 times longer, and it has enabled artists to completely reinvent the elevator. The flat-coated steel belt totally eliminates the metal-to-metal effect of conventional system. Notice the repetition of the word conventional. كلمة conventional نركز على تكرارها. Okay. Coupled with a smooth surface ground machine sheave, the result is exceptionally quiet operation and superior ride comfort. Furthermore, the flexible flat belt enables a more compact, energy-efficient machine, which can be contained in the hoistway. This enhanced technology reduces building and system operating costs and frees up valuable space. طيب نبص بقى على الكلمات البولد اللي معانا. The first word is conventional, eliminates, superior, energy efficient, enhanced, and reduces. The first word, conventional. What does it mean? A conventional means something common or something usual that is known. Eliminates means to get rid of something اللي هي يتخلص من شيء. و superior معناها كلمة مشهورة. الكلمة دي معناها to be better or to be the best between things. Energy efficient, it means it has a low consumption of energy. يعني الحاجة اللي بتكون استهلاكها في الطاقة قليل. Enhanced means to make something better or to improve it. And the last one, reduces. Reduces means to decrease something أو اللي هي بتقلل. the opposite of increase. Okay, let's look at the coming exercise. Exercise 1. Match the words 1 to 6 from the text, and exercise 11A to the synonyms A to F. We've just mentioned that the meaning of conventional is standard or usual, or is something common. Alright, number 2. Eliminates. What does eliminates mean? Can you remember? Eliminates means to get rid of something. So eliminates goes to number E, which is gets rid of. Superior is better or the best. Number 4, energy efficient. Something that has low energy consumption. أو how low has low energy consumption. يعني الشيء اللي بيكون استهلاكه للطاقة زي ما قلت دلوقتي قليل. Number 5, enhanced means improved. And the last one, reduces, means to decrease something or decreases, goes for number 8. Alright, now we will move to a second exercise. Let's have a look. They are the answers. 2 goes to A, 3 for B, and so on. You can look at them. تقدروا تبصوا على الإجابات طبعا. Okay, here is the second exercise, which is a completion. يعني تكملة أو سؤال أكمل. هنكمل من إيه؟ من الكلمات that we have just mentioned والvocabulary اللي معانا. Conventional eliminates, superior, energy efficient, enhanced, and reduces. Okay, complete the following text using the correct form of the words that are in the previous exercise. The first part is about protecting the environment. اللي هو حماية البيئة. Let's read. Neither the belt nor the gearless machine with its permanently sealed bearings requires any lubrication. So the second generation TM system is cleaner for the environment. يعني إيه معنى الجملة؟ إن لا الحزام ولا التروس بتحتاج للlubrication اللي هو إيه؟ التزييت، أو يعني أي مادة بقى، شحوم أو زيوت، أي حاجة من دول اللي هتكون cleaner for the environment، يعني حاجة أنظف نحمي بيها البيئة. Okay, number 1, energy efficient gearless machine with this permanent magnet synchronous motor. Power consumption by as much as 50% over geared machines and 15% over the other machines with permanent magnet motors of axial construction. Okay, number 2, power consumption. It's permanent magnet synchronous motor يعمل ايه في الconsumption بتاع الباور؟ will reduces it. So number 2, reduces power consumption by as much as 50% over what? Over conventional geared machines, and 15% over the machines with permanent magnet motors of axial construction. اوكي. ده كان البارت الاولاني من السؤال عن protecting او حماية البيئة. طيب الجزء التاني بقى بيتكلم عن ان الاليفيتورز دي reliable by design. Text is long-lasting, flat belts, smooth ground shapes, and minimal moving parts in the gearless machine dramatically space wear and increases durability عفوا اللي هي strength أو القوة أو المتانة and efficiency to further reliability and safety. اوكي من أول كده number 4 and minimal moving parts in the gearless machine dramatically enhance wear and increase durability and efficiency to further enhance. Reduce, enhance, so again dramatically reduce, wear and increase durability and efficiency to further enhance reliability and safety. Otis developed the Pulse TM system, which continually monitors the status of the bell's steel cords. Unlike visual inspections of steel ropes, refers to something which is uncommon or unusual. So the unusual, of course, will be the opposite of something standard or something usual or common. So unlike visual inspections of conventional steel ropes. conventional هنا يعني معروف، المقصود بيها حاجة معروفة أو متعاهد عليها أو something common. The Pulse TM system automatically detects and reports belt faults to maintenance personnel for rapid response, providing owners with greater peace of mind. اللي هو يعني السلامة العقلية أو هدوء العقل. With flat belt technology, Otis has created a system that the need for a machine room is quite clean, reliable, and economical, and easy to install and maintain. Okay, here is the answers. We stopped at number 6, which was conventional. Number 7 will be superior, and the last one eliminates. طيب نرجع تاني بقى، وليه number 7 eliminates or superior pardon. علشان على حسب المعنى autist هيكون pardon، لأن according to the meaning هو أنشأ أو اخترع نظام للإليفيتور هيكون أفضل طبعا من الكونفنشنال سيستم، وبالتالي number 7 هتكون superior يعني أفضل من. ليه؟ لأن هو عمل eliminate أو هو eliminates بعض disadvantages بتاعة conventional system. Okay, let's move to exercise number 3, or the third exercise we have today is exercise 12A. You'll find it in your books, by the way. All the exercises are in your books. Again, we will complete using our vocabulary for today. Complete the following tips on emphasizing technical advantages using the words in the box: conventional, eliminated, enhanced, reduced, and superior. When describing technical advantages, it's useful to emphasize. Okay, number 1, space. Performance compared with the older model of the same product. The older model compared. لما نيجي مثلا نعمل مقارنة بين حاجتين، version قديمة وواحدة حديثة موجودة دلوقتي، بنشوف ايه اللي اتطور او ايه اللي اتحدث فيه البرفورمانس او شغل الشيء ده. فعلشان نعرف ايه الشيء اللي اتطور بنعمل حاجة شغل أو كنوع من المقارنة بين الحاجتين دول. فهتبقى number 1 enhanced يعني improved. Number B negative issues that have been or completely spaced. Take time to think. Just think and you will have the answers at the end of the exercise. Okay, here is the answers. Number 1, we agreed that it will be enhanced. Number 2, will be reduced or completely eliminated. ليه reduced الأول؟ لأن بالنسبة للنيجاتيف ايشوز اللي هي مثلا القضايا أو الموضوعات السلبية، قبل ما يحصل لها or قبل ما تبقى to eliminate، قبل ما احنا get rid of، لازم الأول هنقللها وبعد كده نتخلص منها تماما. فعشان كده reduce تسبق eliminates. So again, negative issues that have been reduced or completely eliminated. C, special features that differentiate the technology from the systems. Differentiate. again comparison between two things. المفروض ان هي بين السيستمز مقارنة من حاجة uncommon أو حاجة common، حاجة unusual وحاجة usual. فهنستخدم الكلمة اللي بتاعتنا النهاردة اللي هي conventional، يعني usual أو standard. So special features that differentiate the technology from conventional system. Last one, performance levels that make technology superior to the competition. The last word here. Okay, let's have a look at the answers again. Number 1, enhanced. Number 2, reduced. Number 3, eliminated, and we have discussed why they came in that order. أول حاجة reduced وبعد كده eliminate. منطقيا طبعا بنقلل الحاجة وبعد كده نتخلص منها تماما. Conventional number 4 and number 5 is superior. Number C, we will choose or complete by choosing. Complete the following sentences from the briefing by underlining the correct emphasizing word. يعني هنكمل ان احنا نختار او نعمل خط تحت الكلمة. طبعا انتوا بتعملوا في كتبكم خط تحت الكلمة اللي بتدي معنى ايه تأكيدي. طيب number 1، هنكمل يا جماعة. here again completion. وقلنا في آخر الفيديو اللي فات هنكمل choosing أو الاختيار. Complete the following sentences from the briefing by underlining the correct emphasizing word. هنكمل بإننا نختار. Number 1 is done for you، معمولة. We have come up with a completely or significantly unique profile. Completely. It reduces vibration. يا ترى completely or dramatically. Number 3, machines like these can never be entirely or highly free from vibration. Number 4, the new design runs dramatically or extremely smoothly. Another advantage of the new profile is that it's considerably or entirely lighter. So, compared with our previous range, it's highly or totally efficient. Number 7, trials so far suggest the design is completely, exceptionally durable. And number 8, we accept it to be entirely or significantly more reliable than rival units. Okay, number 2, it reduces vibration dramatically. Machines like these can never be entirely free from vibration. بالكامل totally. The new design runs dramatically or extremely smoothly. تبقى extremely. Another advantage of the new profile is that it's considerably lighter. So compared with our previous range, it's totally efficient. Trials so far suggest the design is exceptionally durable. We accept it to be more reliable than rebel units, it will be significantly. And here's the answer again. You can check them. Number 14A. Here we come to the second skill that will be covering in the section, which is simplifying and illustrating technical explanations. You have a listening activity or a listening exercise here. You will listen to a script and we will answer these questions together. نسمع كده نقرأ text أو script وبعدين إن شاء الله نحل الأسئلة مع بعض. هنعرف الأول التكست عن إيه. Richard, a structural engineer, often takes clients on guided tours on their new buildings during construction. المهندس ده اللي اسمه ريتشارد بياخد دايما العملاء أو الزبائن بتوعه في تور فين عند البيلدينجز اللي هما بيعملوها كمهندسين امتى وقت الإنشاء أو لما يكونوا شغالين في الكونستراكشن بتاعهم. He is talking about explaining technical concepts to non-specialists. يعني هو بيتكلم عن ازاي بيشرح التكنيكال كونسبت لغير بقى المتخصصين في المجال بتاع الكونسبتس دي. Listen and answer the following questions. طيب نعرف بقى ايه الأسئلة أو ايه الإجابات اللي هندور عليها. أول حاجة سؤال What does Richard say about explaining technical concepts? What does he mean by dull explanations? And number 3, what is being patronizing? Here is the text. Listen, please. Listen carefully. Richard is saying, if you are talking to non-specialists and you start using jargon, then to your audience, it's just going to sound like nonsense. That's one problem. Another relates not so much to language, but to the complexity of the technology you are talking about. Even if you use everyday language, the engineer concept itself might still be difficult to explain, and that can make the subject very heavy-going and quite dull, which is obviously not what you want. However, I think it's important not to oversimplify things. There is nothing worse than being spoken to as if you are a child. You don't want to sound patronizing. Okay, I will read a second time. Sorry. Listen, please. If you are talking to a non-specialist and you start using jargon, then to your audience, it's just going to sound like nonsense. That's one problem. Another relates not so much to language, but to the complexity of the technology you are talking about. Even if you use everyday language, the engineering concept itself might still be difficult to explain. And that can make the subject very heavy-going and quite dull, which is obviously not what you want. However, I think it's important not to oversimplify things. There is nothing worse than being spoken to as if you are a child. You don't want to sound patronizing. Okay, here is your answers. But let's have a look again at the question. Number 1, what does Richard say about explaining technical concept. قال ايه عن شرح المصطلحات دي، المصطلحات الخاصة بيه دي او الكونسبتس دي. قال لو انت بتكلم حد نون سبيشالست وبدأت تستخدم المصطلحات الهندسية او المصطلحات المتخصصة قوي في مجالك، طبعا اللي قدامك ممكن ما يكونش فاهم حاجة، ان الموضوع بالنسبة له هيكون يعني does not have a meaning or doesn't make a sense or nonsense، يعني مش مفهوم، ملوش معنى. Okay, number 2, what does he mean by dull explanations? What does it mean by dull? And number 3, what is being patronizing? Okay, the meaning of dull means boring. Patronizing is a word that we use when we deal with an adult as if he is or she is a child. So, patronizing means speaking to an adult as if you are talking to a child. Okay, so far so good. The exercises are all answered for you, and it's so easy. Okay, another exercise. I think this is the last one, or no, still we have another 2. Again with Richard, but in this situation he is giving a tour of a construction site. Listen again and make notes of his explanations. Please give him your attention, and bring a piece of paper to write down his notes. Okay, and last point, compare your ideas with his. Again, back to Richard and listen carefully. Richard says, it's obviously best to use everyday language as far as possible, but I don't think that means avoiding jargon altogether. I find the best approach, so as not to sound patronizing, is to use a certain amount of technical language and then immediately afterwards give straightforward explanations of what it means using everyday words. When it comes to explaining tricky technical concepts, a good technique is to make comparisons between the technical point you are trying to illustrate and things from everyday life that people are familiar with, to help them paint a picture in their minds, and then to help lighten things up and stop things from sounding dull. I think it's good to use a bit of humor as well, and maybe a few amusing anecdotes. Okay, I will read a second time. Don't worry, but please pay attention. It's obviously best to use everyday language as far as possible, but I don't think that means avoiding jargon altogether. I find the best approach, so as not to sound patronizing, is to use a certain amount of technical language and then immediately afterwards give straightforward explanations of what it means using everyday words. When it comes to explaining tricky technical concepts, a good technique is to make comparisons between the technical point you are trying to illustrate and things from everyday life that people are familiar with, to help them paint a picture in their minds, and then to help lighten things up. and stop things from sounding dull. I think it's good to use a bit of humor as well, and maybe a few amusing anecdotes. Okay, let's have a look at the exercise, but before, look at the box you have الكلمات دي. Substructure, pile foundations in general, board, in-city concrete piles, precast driven concrete pile driver, pile auger, and pentonet. Number 1, the substructure is the part of the structure below ground. Oh, I'm sorry, I've written the wrong text. طيب يا جماعة، ده التكست، ده السؤال اللي جاي، معلش نسمع او ايه، احنا نشوف الاسئلة بتاعت التكست ده. تمام، التكست كان تكملة اللي فوق بتاع ريتشارد الاولاني، بس مش عليه اسئلة. ده سؤال تاني برضو عليه text listening، اسمعوا برضو علشان نحل الاسئلة دي. Here is the text. اسمعوا يا جماعة please بعد اذنكم. ريتشارد تاني بيقول: As you can see, we have started work on the substructure. In other words, the part of the structure that is below ground level. The foundations are concrete piles. Basically, a pile is a column going down into the ground, and we are using what we call poured in-situ concrete. In other words, we bore or drill a hole in the ground and concrete's poured in situ, which means it's actually poured on the construction site in its final position. An alternative is to use what we refer to as precast driven piles. Precast refers to the fact that the piles are made at a factory away from the site before being delivered. They are then driven into the ground. They are hammered in with a pile driver, which put simply is just like a giant hammer. And they don't just drive in piles, they drive everyone mad with the constant boom, boom, boom all day long. So thankfully for our ears, we are not using that technique. Instead, we are boring the pile auger over. There is effectively just like a giant drill. As it drills into the ground, we pump a special liquid called pontonet into the hole. Essentially, it's a kind of clay suspension, a sort of mud, and that prevents the walls of the hole from collapsing inwards. So when the hole's finished, it's full of pontonet. It looks just like a big muddy puddle on the ground. Obviously, it's not a good idea to step in one like a colleague of mine once did, and then had to drive home in his underpants for a change of clothes. So once the hole's been bored and filled with pinonet, the layer, and some steel reinforcement, and then concrete's pumped in. And because the concrete is denser than pinonet, it displaces it. So in simple terms, if you picture a glass full of water and imagine pouring concrete into the glass, the water would overflow and you would end up with a glass full of concrete. So that's piling. If anyone has any questions, by the way, just ask. اوكي تمام كده النص خلص. هو طويل شوية بس فيه يعني الأسئلة اللي عليه بسيطة جدا، اللي يركز ويسمع الملاحظات اللي يركز ويسمع الكلمات هيجيب الإجابة بتاعتها على طول، لأن الإجابات أغلبها قصيرة. طيب هو قال لنا إن ال substructure is the part of the structure below ground، يعني الجزء اللي من ال structure اللي بيكون تحت الأرض. طيب ايه بقى ال pile foundation؟ قال إن ال pile foundations ايه هما؟ اللي سمع أو كتب نوت هما concrete piles، بس مالهم going down into the ground. يبقى ال piles بتاعت ال foundation لازم يكون going down into the ground، صح كده؟ طيب to pour a pile ايه اللي بيحصل؟ أو معناها ايه يعني to pour a pile؟ معناها to drill it، يعني برضو ايه يعني احنا اللي هو ايه يحفروا في حتة أو يدقوا في حتة في الأرض. Number 4 instead of concrete اللي سمع. طب أنا هقولها من التكست تاني الجزء بتاعها الباراجراف اللي هي فيه وعشان توصلوا الإجابة. And we are using what we call poured and city concrete. In other words, we bore or drill a hole in the ground and concrete's poured in situ, which means it's actually poured on the construction site in its final position. ايه اللي بيحصل؟ We bore or drill a hole in the ground. Number 4 precast piles اللي سمع. Precast piles مالهم or refers to what? Refers to the fact that the piles are made at a factory away from the site، يعني هما بيكونوا away from the site عن الموقع خالص. To drive in a pile means what؟ حد اسمعها؟ To drive in a pile or to drive a pile in means from the text put simply or it's just like a giant hammer. To drive in a pile, to hammer it in or to hammer in. A pile driver is a giant hammer and a pile auger is a giant what? Drill. yes. Number 8, a giant drill. And number 7, a giant hammer. And number 8, a kind of clay suspension or a sort of mud اللي هي كانت bentonite. And this is the last question, completion again. Complete the following table using the words in the box. Basically, repeat it 2 times. نستخدمها مرتين. Effectively, essentially, imagine, other picture, refer, simple and simply. Simplifying the language. In simple terms, put in words. يعني بنخلي الكلمة أبسط، نبسطها بإن احنا نقول عليها in simple terms. يعني بنحط الكلمات بطريقة مختلفة، أو بنستخدم كلمات تانية علشان نعمل تبسيط أو simplifying لكلمة معينة. Simplifying the concept. And number 3, focusing on technical terms. And number 4, illustrating with image. If you imagine, if you picture. طيب من أول بقى خالص simplifying the language، يعني هنستخدم كلمة simple أكيد. Put simply or in other words. يبقى معانا في number 1 simple.
Your phone's mobile data is turned off, so I can't help you with.
Pardon يا جماعة. In simple terms, put simply in other words. Focusing on technical terms, what we have to as اللي هي what we have referred to as, what we call, what we have, what we refer to as. Number 2 بقى بدأنا من تحت. Simplifying the concept effectively, essentially and basically. طب نبص عليهم كده في الإجابات. Put simply, in other words, basically. Basically قلنا إن هي تتكرر مرتين. Repeat it 2 times. Number 1 و number 2. number 2 فيها effectively, essentially and basically. تاني what we call اللي هو what we refer to as. ماذا ندعوه أو ما الذي نشير إليه ك أو ب. Illustrating with images اللي هي الصور. If we imagine أو if you imagine أو if you picture. Alright. Okay everyone, this is the end of our section, first section, and see you next time inshallah.